Finally, at last, we can breathe. That's how one Palestinian woman described her emotions on hearing news about this ceasefire in Gaza. Overnight, Donald Trump announced hostages will be released early next week. Israel's cabinet is meeting as we go to air, but both the Israelis and Hamas have signed up to phase one.
We are getting the hostages back on Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday, and that'll be a day of joy. I'm going to try and make a trip over. We're going to try and get over there, and we're working on the timing, the exact timing. We're going to go to Egypt, where we'll have a signing, an additional signing. We've already had a signing representing me, but we're going to have an official signing.
Phase one is basically this. Hamas will release hostages. Trump says that will happen early next week. In return, the Israelis will release some Palestinian prisoners. The IDF will withdraw to an agreed yellow line inside Gaza, and fighting will stop within 24 hours. We're going to the Foreign Minister, Winston Peters, in just a few moments, but first to Anthony Glees, who joins us from the UK. You'll know his face. He's been on the show many times from the University of Buckingham. Anthony, your reaction to this, do we hold our breath? We've had ceasefires before, they have been broken. How hopeful are you?
I'm very hopeful, Ryan. I think there is a real chance now of peace. There's a real chance of the war in Gaza coming to an end. And if that happens, I think we need to celebrate the enormous achievement of President Trump. Now, I'm somebody who's not disagreed with a lot of what Trump has done, particularly domestically. But one thing I've always said about him is that he is a genuine peacenik. He really does want to have peace, and he is really very reluctant to use armed force, certainly American armed force, to impose peace. So he believes in deals, he believes in negotiations. This is one of the two big ones. The other, of course, is Ukraine. And I think he's pulled it off. And the reason is that the hostages, which in my view were always the key to this, they are Hamas's weapon of final resort. They are its kind of get out of jail card. They have agreed now to give up the hostages, 20 alive, we think, 28 certainly dead if they can find the corpses. Now, that is a big thing because it means that Hamas realize that as far as Gaza is concerned and the Gazan war, this is over for them. It is the end. And that means peace, effectively. It will take some time and there'll be this going wrong and that going wrong. But no, this is a massive achievement, and it is Trump's achievement.
What's changed, Anthony? What got us to this point?
What got us to this point, I think, is on the one hand, revulsion at the act of terrorism on the 7th of October, just 2 years ago, when 1,200 Jews in Israel were killed just because they were Jews, the biggest single slaughter of Jewish life since the Second World War Holocaust, and on the other, the viciousness and, in a way, the purposelessness of Israel's war of revenge. Yes, the Israelis totally traumatized and they lashed out, but in a very unfocused way. You know, we compare the war they fought against Hezbollah in Lebanon, with a very targeted way, with this sort of obliteration of Gaza. I think one thing that will happen when there is a peaceful situation, the world's media will be able to get into Gaza, and I think they will see the cities and the obliteration, scarcely two stones left standing on top of each other, concrete blocks left standing on each other, and the awful fact that almost 70,000 Gazans, civilians, have been killed, 30% of whom have been children. Now, the world found both these things revolting, and the world came behind President Trump to make sure that these two warring sides somehow would patch up a peace. And that's what we're seeing. Hamas is disappearing from Gaza, but it's not disappearing from the scene. And I have no doubt that somewhere out there is a young man who is about to turn to jihadism and wait for decades in order to carry on this mad mission that Hamas have espoused. But basically, this is very good news. And yes, it is a new beginning, I think, if the opportunity to take it. Trump's put all his prestige behind this, the most powerful man in the world. He's not going to say this is happening if it doesn't,
Yeah,
if he doesn't know that
exactly.
it is going to happen.
Exactly.